Okay, so now we have all of our ribbon on, and you can start separating out some of the ribbon if it's too bunched up at this point, but I would actually urge you to wait because we're going to work on the back side of the wreath and finish off the back. And in doing so, we often crush the ribbon anyway, and then you have to reposition it. So now we have all of our pipe cleaners kind of pointing upward at you. If you happen to notice any of the mesh is rolled too far out and you want to correct it, so like if, let's take this guy, if it's more, you know, the mesh is over here, you can untwist it and pull harder on the inner pipe cleaner and then twist off, and it just rolls that mesh back out. So if you need to, you know, untwist any, that's why I don't like to twist them too far, because sometimes it saves you time if you have to adjust them. So this is when the wire cutters and needle nose pliers come in handy. However, they're not mandatory. So what we're going to do is you can twist off. If you have wire cutters, you can trim. So like this one, it's actually nice because I have such a long piece. And then just using the needle nose pliers to kind of roll it down. And basically what we're trying to do is the wire pipe cleaners have that metal at the tip and it can scratch the surface. So that's the main reason why we're doing that. If you don't have the tools, all you do is just twist and keep twisting and then kind of just roll it down and tuck it under. Same thing. So you don't necessarily need the tools. I like using the tools because I tend to stab myself, and it just protects my hands a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and pay attention to which way you twist it, because sometimes you may have twisted one direction and another, so you don't want to untwist. So I'm going to go through and do this. I'm going to fast forward again. This one's kind of going over 3, which it doesn't need to be, so I'm going to fix it, bring it back in. And the other thing that can help too is it can help you get it a little tighter if you need to. All right, so I'm going to fast forward now, and then we'll come back and add our sign and do kind of finesse the ribbon. Okay, so we have all the pipe cleaners tied off. So we're gonna flip this wreath back over, and now is when you're gonna wanna kind of separate out the ribbon. And you'll probably do this a couple more times before you have it hung up, and even still when it's hung, you might be switching things around then too. So you just wanna make sure that, you know, the ribbon is you get to see it. I mean, you don't wanna see the back side. I mean, obviously, you want to see the polka dot, not the backs of the polka dots. So that's all. Some of the ribbon, there isn't, obviously the solids, it doesn't matter which direction it goes. And even some of the other patterns, it's almost two-sided. So I'm just kind of flipping some around. And while I'm doing this, I'm kind of eyeballing where I might want this sign to go. So it's got pipe cleaners, excuse me. It's got fishing line on either end. And so, you know, you might want to pull out a certain color and have it show more. I'm kind of leaning right there. And so what I can do is, you know, as I tie down the sign, I might squish the ribbon and I can come back and spruce it out again too and kind of pull it around the corners and stuff. So I think I like that location. So that's what I'm going to go with. So it's hard to see this, but I will talk you through the steps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with one of the sides, and I'm going to then kind of make a little hole going down between the mesh and going to the back side of the wreath. So I'm going to try and tuck that fishing line around my finger and pull through. Oops, my finger got stuck. Ah, there. Okay. So I'm going to try and pull that through to the back side. I'm going to flip this over so you can kind of see. So I have this, and it's between these two loops of the wreath. So what I want to do is I want to loop it around one of the bars, and then I want to feed it back up. So that's what I'm going to do. It's hard for me to do it from this angle. So I'm going to flip this back over. And I'm going to feed it back up, catching one of the bars. It doesn't matter where. You just want to catch it on something. Because I have found in doing these, the signs stay a little better if we kind of attach them twice, so to speak. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my fishing twine back up, so it's gone around one of the bars, and then I'm going to feed it back through the hole and pull it through to the back side again. So I am going to tie off on the back side, but this is just to kind of help it to anchor it a little bit better. And then I'm going to kind of feed back down through that same hole and pull it through to the back side. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this one, and then I'll flip it over and tie that side off and then move to the other end of the wreath. So again, I'm going to find a little hole down in between some mesh and try and lock it around my finger or feed it through. I'm going to come around one of the bars on the back and come back up in the same vicinity. And then I'm going to, again, go back into that drilled hole. And just be careful not to catch your ribbon, because we want to make sure that this, we don't want to give it slack so that when that ribbon gets pulled out, it would cause your sign to sag. Okay, so now I find both tails on the back side and I put them into one hand. Now, we want the wreath to sit kind of into the, we want the sign to sit into the wreath, not just up on top, because then again, it gives it more potential to shift and slide down. So I kind of, as you see, it's kind of tucked in, and I can pull those ribbon out from behind there to fix it once I kind of get it secured. So I like that tension. So I'm going to flip it over, and then the next thing I look for is I try and look for these crossbars, because I like anchoring it to one of those as well. So I'm going to come down and loop it around. And this one's right here, so I'm just going to come around. Okay. So now I'm going to kind of tie it off. So I usually do one throw and kind of, you know, pull. Sometimes I check if I feel like it's pulling a lot to make sure that I haven't pulled down too deep, and I don't think I have. So now I'm going to, again, kind of lock it around a bar. And fishing line will slip. And if you don't throw perfect square knots, it will definitely slip. And so I always do multiple. So I'm going to do 1, 2, yikes, 3, and 4. I know it's impossible to see this fishing twine or line when I'm doing this, but so I've gotten a bunch of throws there. I also, then I'll go ahead and trim it off. So this is when you need your scissors. Don't cut too tight, because if you cut down to the, and it does slip, it might undo your knot. So I do leave just about an inch of a tail on that. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it over, and now we're going to move to this side of the wreath. So, and actually coming back over here, I've got this green stuck under there. I can pull that out and pull that if I want to, you know, kind of there. Okay, so now we're going to work on this side. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find a little hole down to the back side, go around one of the bars in the back, and feed it back up. Okay, so now I'm going to go through there. And back to the back side. All right. So now we're going to do this one. Back through that hole and back to the back side. All right. Maybe. I swear sometimes this fishing line gives me fits. All right, so I got both of them pulled back to the back side. I'm going to grab both tails into one hand, maybe, and I'm going to kind of put a little tension on that side to kind of pull it down into the mat, onto the wreath, so like that. So the ribbon is coming up around it, and we're going to, you know, pop that up all around too. So we're going to flip over. Okay, so it looks like I'm in between my 2 crossbars again. So I'm going to kind of loop around this one, and I'm close to this one. And okay. put that there. Just check it. Yep, that looks good. Still kind of seated in there. Again, I gave you a lot of fishing line to work with, and sometimes it's actually more challenging when you have this much, but I want to make sure that you had enough to be able to hit one of these crossbars and to work with. So, all right. So if you wanted to trim it, you certainly could, and then trim it again when you're finished. All right, my last one. Okay, so now I'm gonna cut those. All right, so now you can officially work your ribbon and mesh if you need to pull some out. So like right here, this pink is all hidden under here, and I think I definitely want that to show. So I'm gonna kind of reach in and pull it so it pokes around that corner. All right, and just want that flipped over. So like this gingham is a pattern that's the same on both sides, so it doesn't really matter which way it's facing. And I'll be honest, I'll work this time and time again, so just have fun with it. Don't stress out about it. You just want your ribbons to be seen. There we go. All right. So now that I've got that all complete, now it's time to add that little bitty wire that we had in the beginning. You don't have to use this. I use it because I feel like it stays on my hook better. I just use 3M hooks to hang my wreath on my front door and on doors inside the house. So you certainly can just use the wire of the wreath itself. So I kind of twist it to something like that to start. Now again, this is when that needle nose pliers come in handy. Actually, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. So kind of the center of it is kind of right here. So I kind of just put my finger there and flip it over. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of wrap these wires around. Now you can totally move them with your fingers. But again, I like using the needle nose pliers because I can get it a little tighter. But it's totally doable with fingers as well. But like I said, you certainly can hang it just from that, the wire itself, the wreath frame itself. It doesn't have to be with this. So if you wanted to omit this step, by all means. So, and then I can kind of move this along as I need to. So there we go. We are all set. Hope you enjoyed this video and it was helpful, and I hope you enjoy your summer wreath and look forward to you participating in another one with me. So thank you.